Are you in the market to create a brand new product that's going to require manufacturing? If so, this is a must-watch video for you. Stay tuned. Hey YouTube, it's your girl, The Real Teddy Talks, educating you daily on entrepreneurship, your hustle and your grind, and building generational wealth. For those of you that are following my channel or are new to my channel, I'm on a 365-day exit strategy from my day job to my side hustles. Over the next year, I will pivot from my main job to match my income with my side hustles or exceed it. So, I hope you come along this journey with me. Let's get into it. As I was plotting out, and I do mean plotting and planning and strategizing my 365-day exit strategy, I thought about product creation. So I basically looked into a product that I was looking for. It was something I was using in my household, and I realized it wasn't as easy to find as it should be. And I immediately thought, that's a point of entry. So I started doing my research. I did some market research, a little bit of market analysis, and I found out that there was only a couple of companies that actually manufactured this particular product. So I immediately started digging, making phone calls, talking to mentors to find out how I can get in, what the process is, what I need to do, and so on and so forth. And that leads me to today's video, which is questions for a manufacturer. Now keep in mind, if you're going to be talking to a manufacturer and asking them these questions, I hope you've already done your market research, you've already done your market analysis, and you know that there is a hole that you need to fill. There's a market for what you want to sell, and there are buyers willing to buy it. Those are very important points, and I don't want you to miss out on that because you'll be speeding and getting way ahead of yourself if you're talking to manufacturers and you haven't done this process first. If you have made it this far, and you've determined that it is time to create your product, then this is where you need to tune in. Once you ask the manufacturer these questions, I want you to tune in and listen closely, not just for their answer, but the way they answer the question. Because you want to imagine yourself on the reverse side. You're already a client of this manufacturer, and they're manufacturing your goods, and there's some other stranger that's asking them questions about what they manufacture and who their other business partners are and who they're working with. And you want to see how much information they're giving away to perfect strangers. The first question you need to ask a manufacturer is, are they actually a manufacturer? You want to make sure you're talking to the manufacturer, the person that owns the manufacturer, the manager, director of operations, someone. You do not want to be talking to a wholesaler, a distributor, a supplier, or an agent. The second question that's important to ask a manufacturer is, what exactly do they manufacture? You want to make sure that whatever they're manufacturing is in line with what you hope to produce. Because if they already have the machines tooled and ready and lubricated and the process is down, then that's a manufacturer you want to go to. You don't necessarily want to go with a manufacturer that hasn't manufactured what you hope to manufacture and doesn't have that process down to a T. You also, a subset to that question is, who are they working with? Now they probably have signed some form of NDA, so they can't tell you exactly who they're working with, but they can tell you what they're producing and the industries that they're working with to help give you an idea of what their breadth and scope is. The third question you want to ask is, can you visit the factory? Now, I know a lot of you are dealing with manufacturers or hope to deal with manufacturers overseas, and if you can afford it and it's an option for you, I would recommend that you go see the factory. You want to see the factory, you want to see their operations, who's working there, and you want to feel the energy in that place. I got lucky, and in my case, hope to be working with a U.S. manufacturer, and that cuts out a lot of the ambiguity when it comes to the manufacturing process, especially with dealing with foreign manufacturers. But the price point isn't always best for that, so I encourage you to do what you want to do, research your options, but if you can see the facility, you should. The fourth question you need to ask are, what are the phases of production? You can't assume that you have a product and it's going to be produced. There's usually a design phase, there may be an engineering or tooling phase, you have your prototype phase, then you have your actual product creation, and you need to know the difference and the timelines of those phases. The fifth question is, what quantities can they produce? You need to know how much is the smallest and the largest amount of quantities they can produce. And there's usually going to be some cost savings associated with the more products that you produce, but not always, depending on the product. You need to know what their lines are, where their cut lines are, and what they can do for you to help you get your product to market without sacrificing too much product while you're testing the market. The sixth question you must ask a manufacturer: what parts, ingredients, materials of the manufacturing process can they actually source? You have to understand, if you're making clothing, for instance, they may have some deal with the label makers or the yarn makers or the thread people or the silk people. You may want to use their discount. You may want to let them source those items because they can get a better deal than you can. On the other hand, they may be trying to gouge you on some things that you can actually find cheaper. So you need to explore your options, check your prices, and do cost-benefit analysis of all angles. The seventh question you need to ask is, what are their prices? Now, I did ask this question. I did not get a straight answer, and that is because there's so much that goes into the manufacturing process. Most manufacturers can't give you a blanket statement as to what their prices are. And I'm sure with some exception, there's some product out there you can create and they know to a T exactly how much it's going to cost per unit, timelines, all that. But if there are phases to the product that are going to cost, you do want at least to know a ballpark, a minimum, maximum range of what your expectations are. The eighth question you need to ask is, what are their payment terms? You need to know what you have to pay and when. Do they expect a deposit before they even do the design engineering phase? Are you paying hourly for someone to design your product and bring your prototype to life? Is there a deposit required when you're actually beginning the manufacturing line? Do you have to pay 30% up front, 70% at delivery? I mean, these are all the things you need to know because you need to know what you're getting into and when that money is due and when you have to source those funds. And the most important question is, can you afford it? What help do you need? What can you figure out yourself? And is it even worth going down that road? The ninth question you need to ask are, what are their deadlines? What are their deadlines for the design? What are their deadlines for the engineering and tooling phase? And what are their deadlines for the production phase? These are drop dead dates. And when are your samples going to be ready? That's an important question. When will you have your samples? And the 10th question you need to ask all manufacturers is, what do they do if there's a mistake? Just say you've gone through all those phases, everything looks, and then you realize that there is a mistake. There's something wrong with the product. There's a bump where there should be a groove. The design is a little off. All of the pieces aren't exactly the same. What part of that do they take responsibility for? And which part of that do they carry over to you? And most importantly, how are they going to fix it and how long is it going to take? Going down the road of product creation is scary, especially if you're a first timer like me, but it was so interesting and so intriguing actually speaking with the person that's going to bring my product to life. If you've made it this far in this journey, I commend you, and I encourage you to keep going and keep going and keep going till you reach your goals. As I said before, I promise to share with you my successes and my pitfalls in the hopes that I can save you from making some of the same mistakes if you're going down that same road. I hope you reach your exponential greatness, invest in yourself just 1% a day, and you'll have phenomenal results at the end of the year. Follow me on my 365-day exit strategy from my job, and I'll see you back tomorrow. This is The Real Teddy Talks, signing off.